All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Afterpulse video. I'm going to try to knock this one out without doing too much talking. This is going to be an inventory check video back by popular request. And so we'll jump right into it here. I'm not going to talk about everything that I'm scrolling through. I'm not going to be like, oh, blue training handgun, TSG7, ML20. I'll just talk about a couple things along the way as I scroll through. You can look for yourself and see what's in the collection. So starting off in the secondaries here, we got my only 7-star secondary, the blue training handgun. Pulled this out of a crate. I guess you can pull 7 stars out of a crate technically. Only the blue training handgun so far in the history of Afterpulse. Other than that, you can combine or evolve for 7 stars, obviously. And so when I pulled a 7-star of that guy, I figured I'd save one just for the collection. Obviously, it would be nice just to use that as power-up material, but yeah, I guess we're going to start off a little slow here because the ones at the top I want to talk about more. So we got the TASG7 Carbon next. Obviously, pretty crazy weapon there, I guess. Very recent pull from a crate and pulled the 6-star. Working on maxing that out. Got it up to 33. I promise I'll have a video once we get that guy maxed out. Super close, so stay tuned for that. Then we got some rocket launchers, and you'll notice here I got a bunch of maxed out 6 stars with a matching 6-star, so there's a lot of weapons. I think I counted like several months ago, maybe even a year ago by now. I think I had like 81 or something 6 stars, maxed out 6 stars with a matching 6-star ready to evolve. Obviously, you could write it down and like check that number as you're watching this video if you really wanted to and call my bluff on that, because I don't know if it's 81. That seems crazy, but I feel like that's the number I remember. I could be wrong. Maybe that's just maxed out 6 stars in general, but we got quite a few maxed out 6 stars with a matching 6-star ready to go. And obviously, if you're watching this video, I'm assuming you know, it takes 2 6 stars to evolve into that coveted 7 stars. So if you've watched my journey here in Afterpulse, my go-to saying is that I want to build everything in the game eventually. Just super long-term goal. That's just kind of what I'm like, I don't know what the word is, like blindly working towards. I feel like there's a better word there than blindly, but maybe naively working towards, because it'll never happen. But as opposed to like just getting the best stuff and maxing that out and playing the majority of my time with that. I do like to switch it up a lot and challenge myself and use some lesser items and whatever from time to time, or just to have the most diverse stuff to make videos on different stuff, as I have in the past. I used to do a lot of like, way back in the Afterpulse days, there were, a handful of YouTubers. One in particular probably was the most popular. I'm sure most of you guys know. And, they'd make like 7-star maxed out review videos, and I just couldn't really get to that point unless I emptied out my bank account, which I didn't. I spent a lot on this game compared to other games, but, definitely not like several $1,000s, but, grinded for a ton, used to grind insanely hard way back in the day. And so, I was lucky if I got some 6 stars to make videos on, and eventually over time my account started to come together into what it is here today. But a lot of you guys back in the day appreciated those like 4-star reviews and 5-star reviews that other creators weren't posting, just because it's something different. And while it's obviously the coolest to see that 7-star maxed out, it is cool to see people play with 4-star and 5-star, at least back in the day. Maybe not so much nowadays, but back in the day, see somebody compete with like 4-star and 5-star stuff and see like how they stack up and what you can do to play with that stuff if that's all you have in your account. But nowadays, there's no doubt that it is way easier than ever to get rare stuff. I know obviously there's certain things that are still incredibly rare and elusive. But if you were around like since 2015, early 2016, maybe even like late 2016 and 2017, you know just how much it has changed in terms of just like pulling things like echo weapons or deltas in particular. It's not uncommon to get a delta nowadays. What is uncommon is to get a delta that you actually want. And so, there's obviously more stuff in the game nowadays, and you can only assume they're just going to keep adding and adding and adding, and slowly making your old stuff irrelevant, which is an interesting note. I'm sure we'll have plenty of time to talk here, so maybe I'll touch on that in a bit. But there's always newer, better stuff introduced, and just lots of stuff to collect. So nowadays it might be diluted a little bit, but you have to admit that it's easier than ever to get a lot of the stuff, and there's been some really good packages offered, and it's especially easier than ever to get some stuff if you're willing to spend some money. And I know that's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people, and certainly not ideal in a lot of ways. But I think your dollar spent on this game nowadays goes way further than it ever has in any point in Afterpulse history. At least, you should buy the right deal. Some deals are definitely better than others. I'm not saying that any right now are particularly bad, but there's definitely some that are measurably better, undoubtedly better. The deals where you get guaranteed 6 stars, the deals where you get, tons of blue training handguns, things like that are super useful. I haven't seen it in a while, but they have offered, and I'm sure they will in the future, that one deal where you can get like guaranteed Delta crates and just stuff like that. So I think it's non-debatable. It's not even a debate whether or not your dollar goes further than it ever did in the history of Afterpulse. But obviously you can still spend thousands of dollars and not have everything you want in your Afterpulse account, just because there's so much out there nowadays. So I haven't been spending money over the last 2 years, maybe. I don't know. Been kind of playing casually over the last 2 years, trying to ramp up a little bit again with the carbon stuff here. Got that TASG7 carbon, and you'll see as we jump into primaries, been working on some of these guys as well. I'll jump up to the top of the rank here. So trying to get back into a little bit here, still trying to make Call of Duty Mobile my main game, and trying to be competitive in that and really, go for it a bit. It is still hard to just sit down and play games for several hours a day and make videos and do all the other stuff that I do, and blah blah blah. So I'm always working on it. I'm always a work in progress, and at least we posted a video daily for several days in a row now. Just trying to post daily for the rest of the year, and taking it from there one step at a time. So hopefully you guys are here for it. I appreciate you guys. My channel's been kind of dead, but yeah, if you're watching to this point, you're here to listen to me ramble on, as opposed to just seeing the cool stuff in my inventory, maybe, or maybe you're skipping around. I don't know. Just saying, I don't feel bad for standing here at the same screen and talking for 5 minutes, but we'll continue on here for the sake of all of our sanity. So yeah, staring at you in the face here is a 7-star maxed out ACL 08 carbon. Nothing special there, but it is cool to be a 7-star and be a new 7-star at that with the carbon series. And then right under that, we have the HMG 24 carbon, level 34, working on maxing that guy out. And I've had these guys for a little bit now, and definitely gonna be making a video. I'll touch back on that in a second, since we're sorted by rank here. I'll probably have more to say about the 7 stars, and then less to say about the 6 and 5 stars as we scroll down the list. So I'll come back to the current carbon weapons, both of which are LMGs, more on that in a second. And so continuing on here, we got a couple 7-star CQRs, my babies right here. CQR 2000 Jester, level 23. CQR 2000 Threat, level 39. I think that's 99% leveled up just from playing with it, which isn't insane to do nowadays, but that is quite a bit of time spent playing with that guy. Probably my best primary, I would say, or my go-to primary. Best is certainly debatable, depends on so many factors. What gear you have, what game mode you're playing, blah, blah, blah. But then we got a 7-star UNK CQB Threat. And if you guys are watching this, you probably saw the live stream in the past where we made, I forget what it was, 3, 4, or 5 Threat 7-star weapons in the same stream or something. I guess maybe it was 3, because there's only 3 here, but I don't know, it was something like that. I think we made all 3 of these in one live stream. I think that's what we did. So that video should still be public on my channel if you want to check it out. But yeah, man, kind of miss those long live streams with you guys. Definitely got to start doing more of that soon. Getting the feel of the Afterpulse community back. I don't know, just haven't been feeling community vibes as much recently, but trying to get back into it a little bit here. We got the Atalanta AWD 2017. Super awesome gun, man. Super awesome. Love that in the original Dread Survival where it was snipers. You wasn't snipers only, but you pretty much had to use snipers to hit those long range shots. So that was awesome to use in that. We got my baby, another baby, the ST3C AWD 2016. Used to be my favorite gun for a while. Haven't remotely touched it in probably 2 years, so, you know, there's a lot of content here. I could just like make a video like, is the ST3C AWD 2016 still good in 2019? Probably not nearly as good as it used to be, but not that it was ever exceptional, but it, I don't know. I used to enjoy playing with it. I think it's definitely less effective nowadays. But then we got the AG-10 Patriot, and we got the Mar-12 Atom, and we got the SMR-16 Autumn. Was super, super OP at one point, and I realized this is just turning into a history of the Afterpulse guns, which, I don't know, if you're watching at this point, maybe you enjoy it, but I'll try to keep it a bit more brief here. It's going to take 5 hours to make this video. We got the Nox K Veteran 7 stars. We got the SRMK3 Charlie 7 stars. We got Maverick LA1 Bravo 7 star, M349 7 star. My first ever 7 star, the Far N. Best camo. Oh man. I think that's how, I don't know if I'm respected nowadays in the Afterpulse community, but I think there was a time that I was, at least, and a lot of that came from me being competitive with the Far N in multiplayer, like way back in the day. We're talking like early 2016. Man, a lot of memories in Afterpulse. So yeah, a lot of you guys were always shocked at how well I was able to do with the Far N, and that's just because I didn't have anything better. The Far N was the first 6-star I ever pulled, and obviously it was trash, but I made it work, and you know, whatever. People got mad at me for like saying that it was, you were able to compete with it. They like mistook that for me saying like you should build a Far N. I don't know. It was a weird time, dude. It was a weird time. But then we got another, I think this might have been my second 7-star, honestly. I don't remember, but we got the DMR-17, still level 1. I guess, yeah, when the game respawned in late 2017, I guess, I don't remember how it worked. Did you get your 7 stars back that you used to have? I feel like you did. I feel like you got most weapons back, right? I don't remember, but yeah. That's why it would be level 1, I guess. I guess I haven't touched it since then, if that makes sense. I don't know. But yeah, now we're on to the 6 stars, so I can talk a bit more about other stuff non-related to the weapons. It's just, there's a lot to say about the 7-star collection, not so much about the 6 stars and lower. So we got the carbons, 6-star Nox K carbon, 6-star ACL08 carbon. That'll be a burner material soon, which, you know, going back to the 2 7-star LMG carbons that I have, the ACL08 and the HMG24. You know, I'm gonna make a video on those. Wanted to. We've just, since I had them, we've had like shotgun only event, SMG only event, assault only event, launcher only event. You know, there's been no, at least that I know of. You know, I don't play like religiously every day nowadays, but so maybe I missed an LMG event in there, but as far as I know, there hasn't been one recently. And just want to give these guys a fair review. You know, I have tried to find like good ranked matches to get into, but it never seems to work out right, and I rarely find a match in ranked. And I know I don't really bother with like changing the regions and all that. Obviously they added it to the game, so like, you know, do whatever you got to do. I'm just like kind of stubborn in that sense. I don't feel like after spending several $100s and countless, I don't even want to think about how many hours of my life on a game, just like working towards building stuff and whatever, and then, you know, I make a video on something and I gotta sit there for like 15 minutes to try and find a ranked match, and if I do find one, we end up like going against bots or something, and it's not a fair review. It's not a good video worth watching or anything like that. And so same thing with casual. I'm not sure exactly what the bot situation is nowadays, but even there, it's rare to find any good players playing ranked or casual nowadays, in my opinion. I'm sure you guys do to get your free gold and stuff. I haven't really been doing that. Definitely missing out on some stuff there, but I think most people are playing the event when they play, and so since there hasn't been an LMG event recently, it's just been super, super hard to make videos on those. So kind of disappointed in that sense, but it's also a good thing. I like that they're doing these different game modes and switching it up often. A lot of our feedback was that events were too long. I forget, like they had the winter event that was like several weeks, like 8 weeks maybe, all at once, just winter event back to back to back. I think the original Dread Survival was like back to back to back to back for 8 weeks. And so a lot of our feedback, mine included, was that these events were too long. And so they're obviously listening, and they have shortened them up and they switch them more often, which is super, super welcomed, and just doing cool things like, SMG only and disable SMG protection, assault only and disable assault protection. Those are super cool ideas, I think. Let me know what you guys think in the comments if you're still watching, but definitely I like what they're doing. I think overall the game is slow in its development, but if you look on a macro scale over the last 2 years or so, at least since the game has respawned, definitely I would say they've, with some slight issues from time to time aside, just like disconnects or like stupid things like that, I think their updates have been good and continually going in a better direction for the game as a whole. And, I'd still like to see an Afterpulse 2 released someday. I think they still have something here in the way the game works with the controls and the graphics and the style, the art style. I still think they have something pretty good here, and I think the game should be more popular than it is. I think it's bogged down by the monetization model and just some very basic things, which I'm sure I'm oversimplifying, and some developers are watching the video screaming at me like, it's not that simple, dude. But like the matchmaking, I just don't think it's up to par with, the Afterpulse matchmaking is definitely not up to par with what modern games are, even like modern mobile games are nowadays. And so I think that's a major, major issue that really needs to be addressed for that's the thing at this point. I think if Afterpulse 2 was released, I think that would have to be baked in from the start. Nowadays, it is what it is, and the people who are still playing Afterpulse are pretty much going to keep playing Afterpulse. If you've been around for several years, I don't think you're just going to quit one day because you can't find a ranked match. You pretty much know what the game is nowadays after playing that long, and so I don't know what the ROI would be on specifically improving that for the time being, but I think it would be a welcome change nonetheless, just to, and I'm being vague here in terms of like, oh, the matchmaking needs to be improved. What does that mean exactly? I don't know. You'd have to sit down and figure all that out, but definitely still disappointing and not up to par with a lot of multiplayer games nowadays to just kind of sit in an empty lobby and stuff. And aside from that, just some minor like UI quality of life features basically for the user would be awesome. I know plenty of people have talked about it, just this weapon list on the side. It's a single wide list scrolling vertically. There's infinite ways better to design this, infinitely better ways. I don't know. There's an infinite number of better ways to design this, in my opinion. It wasn't bad. It was the minimally viable solution back when the game was first introduced, and it was fine when you have 100 different weapons. Nowadays, if you count every different weapon with every different skin as a different weapon, you're like probably several hundreds. I haven't counted in a long time. I did at some point. Maybe there's a record in Discord or something, but or actually I think I posted it in like comments on some old videos. I guess it wouldn't be super hard to find with like a YouTube search functionality. But yeah, I think I counted at one point. There's just a lot of different weapons with all the skin variants and just the base weapon variants, you know, whatever. So yeah, quite a lot of stuff. The single wide list isn't quite working anymore, but I don't want to harp on too many negatives. You know, as I started off by saying here, they've been on a good trajectory, however slow it is. I think it's a good trajectory over the last, I can't talk all of a sudden, over the last couple of years or whatever. So yeah, man, back to the list here. There's the Far End Dragon, another beauty that I used to be notorious for somehow competing with. But yeah, we're still in the 6 stars here, getting down to the end of the 6 stars in the autumns. If you don't know, which I'm assuming you do if you're watching at this point, but if you don't know how weapons are sorted, it's basically from low to high, sorted by rank. Obviously, it's going to go 1 star to 7 star, but then within that, you know, within a group of 6 stars, your non-skinned are going to be at the bottom. Then it's going to go Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo. And then from there, it'll be in the order that the skin as a whole was first introduced to the game. And so I think Nightcrawler was actually Veteran will be under this. So Veteran, which came baked into the game, and so you might not consider it like the first skin addition in the game, but technically I guess you would say it was. But then Nightcrawler came after Veteran, and then I think like Chrome, I mean, we just scrolled through all of it. I don't want to go back through, but I think like Chrome, or no, Autumn was after Nightcrawler, then Dragon, then Chrome, I think. Yeah, so then Chrome, and then, you know, so on and so on. And that's why at the very top of my list, we started off with the Carbon stuff. Since the Carbon is the latest skin, that's why it's at the top of the list when sorted by that, when sorted by rank. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. You know, just a minor detail if you don't know. I'm sure there's still some new players in Afterpulse. But yeah, there's all the skin stuff, and then onto some 6 stars. You see we got the Echoes going in reverse order here. I think I said in a recent video that I didn't have a Bobcat. I do have the 6-star Panther, which you saw already, and I do have the 6-star non-skinned, which I guess is level 1. I guess I haven't touched it since the game respawned. That's interesting, but I guess I don't really have a need to with the Panther edition. Might as well use the skin version. It's just all around going to be better regardless of what gear you got or anything like that. But I was saying in that video recently that I don't have a 7-star Bobcat. But there's something interesting. There's the Findwire P500. Super cool. Another crazy lucky pull from the Carbon crates. Got some good stuff from those. So I don't know. It'll take me like a year to max this guy out. So I'll probably post like a quote-unquote first impression type of review for that guy at some point. You know, same thing with that, with all of the exclusive events like shotgun only, SMG only, assault only, blah, blah, blah. It is relatively harder to make a review on a precision class weapon. You know, I got to find a ranked match and got to find a decent ranked match that's worth posting or whatever. So we'll get there eventually, but you guys know the deal. I always overpromise and underdeliver here on the Gaming Willis YouTube channel. But there's the STR9 Tiger, which is vaulted nowadays. I think the STR is included in the vault. I don't know. I used to know absolutely everything about this game. Now there's just too many details to remember. But I think that's vaulted along with the rest of the Tiger series. And then we just got some generic non-skinned 6 stars. I've been holding on to a lot of these guys forever. Once again, just trying to hold on to 2 6 stars of each weapon to be able to make the 7-star someday. Obviously, you'd rather build up a 6-star and max it out and evolve it rather than saving a bunch of 5 stars. You know, obviously I could burn these as 6-star burners and make a bunch of 7 stars right now. But for me personally, I'd rather hold on to 1 of each, basically, is my method of eventually building everything in the game. So finally we're on to the 5 stars, and we still got gear to go through, so strap in, man. Strap in. It's gonna be a long video if you want to see the whole thing, but you guys requested it, so I figured I'd post it, man. We got the UNK CQB Carbon 5-star. I still want to use that guy just to try it with like the C-Trace pants and that setup and just see what the portability is like. I don't think I touched it yet. Still at level 1, obviously. Some other stuff, other carbon stuff, Tab XI carbon, some jesters. And yeah, 5 stars. I don't hang on to too many 5 stars unless, you know, certain things like the Striker 50 threat. I'm definitely going to be holding on to that. You know, as long as I don't have a 7-star or 2 6-stars, you know, for the Striker specifically, I do have 1 6-star currently, so obviously I'm going to hold on to a 5-star Delta. Relatively rare, you know, it's not hard to get the Striker specifically compared to other Deltas, but it is still a Delta. And then, you know, like I'll save 5 stars generally. You know, if I have like 1 6-star or something, I'll save 2 5 stars of it just to, you know, have the pieces in my inventory. But, you know, whether or not I build it is low priority. I'm going to pretty much, unless I'm trying to build something very, very specific, like something very recent, like the carbon stuff, I'm generally not going to use resources to max out a 5-star until all of my 6 stars are maxed out, which we still have quite a few to go. So you know, eventually we'll move down the line here and just have everything maxed out. And obviously it's exponentially easier to max out a 5-star compared to a 6-star, and exponentially easier to max out a 4-star compared to a 5-star, etc. So you know, once we get done with the harder stuff, I think my account will come together a lot. But definitely still missing a lot of the recent stuff, a lot of the recent stuff. You know, I forget what I said in this video already, but just to touch on it again, or for the first time, I'm not sure. You know, my inventory check videos in the past were never intended to be any type of flex, but I would say that in the past I was proud of my account. You know, I still didn't have everything, but I had a lot, probably maybe in the top like 1% of Afterpulse, if that's a way to say it. But nowadays, you know, maybe I'd put myself within like the top 40% of Afterpulse, maybe. What is that, like 60th percentile, I guess, if you're doing it like that. You know, there's a lot of work, a few dollars put into this account. It's obviously been a journey. There's as stupid and corny as it sounds, you know, there's memories attached to these virtual items. You know, a lot of work put in, a lot of time put in, especially with the 7 stars. And so you know, it's cool to go through and see everything from that perspective. But in terms of like showing off a stacked Afterpulse account or something, you know, I'm definitely not, I don't feel like my account right here is stacked compared to what a lot of people have nowadays. And I think that's what I touched on earlier with your dollar going farther than it ever has nowadays in Afterpulse. I think if you're willing to spend 20, 40, 60, $100 a month on Afterpulse, which is actually insane, but if you can afford it, you know, you probably have most of the recent stuff. Obviously some things like the echoes and certain deltas are still very elusive, and maybe you need that one gear piece or something. But you know, just to touch on it again, they've had some crazy awesome deals with like guaranteed 6 stars or guaranteed deltas, or the recent version 2 Urban Mastodon gear. Like you could get that full set for $20. Just spend your $20, although incredibly expensive in terms of like just buying a virtual item and being like, hey, I spent $20 on this freaking gear set. That's cool. But you know, you could buy several fully developed, like almost AAA games for that price if you buy like just premium games on the App Store or something. So it's weird to think about from that perspective. And I'm not saying don't spend your money on Afterpulse, but I'm not saying that you have to. But if you are willing to spend some money on Afterpulse, it is clear that nowadays you can, you know, acquire some stuff for a little bit of money. And they got the black market, which I haven't touched on yet in this video, where, you know, obviously it changes for everybody, but you know, you might check that and they're offering that one gear piece that you don't have yet for $20, and you just buy it to complete the collection. And you know, it is easier than ever to get your stuff in Afterpulse nowadays. But I'm not saying it's easy. Not saying it's easy. I'm sure I'll get some backlash from saying that it's easier than ever or whatever. People will be like, but I still don't have a Bobcat, blah, blah, blah. That's my impression. But yeah, I don't know. You know, if you're, at least if you're willing to spend money, it's way easier than it's ever been. And of course the seasonal progression is super cool. I kind of just like stopped playing altogether during the first seasonal progression. Just kind of gave up on it. Just it's hard. I think I already said it in this video, but just to spend several hours a day gaming, and I don't know. Obviously, you're putting in the work to work towards stuff to make a video about that, but when the videos don't do as well, that work isn't really justified, and so I'm, you know, kind of treading water with my channel as a whole right now, and just trying to. I'm always working on stuff behind the scenes. I promise you. I promise you. we got hours put in, man. I've been logging all of my hours worked, and I'm doing a lot of stuff here, but just hoping to pivot in the right direction in the near future. So all I can really say right now is stay tuned. And you know, I don't know exactly what the future of the channel is gonna be, but working on it. And I can say that it's probably not making, I don't know, weapons reviews in Afterpulse. You know, I already kind of stopped doing those, but it's just like so much work for like 500 views on a video, which is great, but if you know anything about YouTube, there's pretty much no ROI there. So, you know, trying to pivot into some different stuff, still trying to play Afterpulse and make some videos as much as I can, and I've had a handful in the last couple weeks, and we will have more to go. But yeah, I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I just haven't been playing near as much as I used to back in the day, and it definitely shows in terms of some missing stuff from my account, and my account could definitely be farther than it is, just in terms of like progression and having things maxed out and stuff. You know, like the season pass, there's no reason that I can't have the like a 6-star SLG 18 and the 7-star shotgun gear. That's really just a matter of putting in the time to play. But you know, I just haven't. I've been slacking, and so yeah, I don't know. I still have a great account, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to sound ungrateful, but I just feel like a lot of this stuff is seen before. But you know, if you're watching the whole thing, maybe you got some ideas of things you want to see. If you want to see that, you know, specific gear set that I do happen to have or whatever, let me know in the comments, and we'll make some content on that, and just take it from there. We'll see where the future of the channel goes. But scrolling through the pants here, we got lots already in the 5 stars, and they didn't like completely get rid of the 1 to 3 star gear, but I used to have, I think, almost every piece of 1 to 3 star gear except for like maybe 1 or 2 pieces. And when the game respawned in 2017, they sent me what I had previously except for the 1 to 3 star gear, just because it would have been tedious to send. And you know, it'd be cool to just to look at it from time to time in my account, but at the end of the day, it would just make these lists even longer to scroll through. So I'm kind of glad that I don't have it. But I did have like pretty much every 1 to 3 star gear piece back in the day. But yeah, I'm trying to think what else to talk about, man. What else to talk about? Back with the inventory check by popular demand. But yeah, I don't know if I talked about this in terms of, basically, if you don't know the goal of Afterpulse, the monetization model, the longevity of the game is based on constantly and consistently introducing stuff to make your previously acquired stuff irrelevant. And so that's a very, very delicate balance. Obviously, we've had tons of backlash in the Afterpulse community when certain things are introduced and they're just way too OP, and you know, the devs realize this and they have to rebalance a little bit and, you know, figure out exactly how to proceed. And basically, it's cool that they introduce squads. No, you know, no debate about that. I think it's one of those features as well, just to go on a little tangent here, that I've talked about, just like little quality of life features that I might be oversimplifying from a developer perspective, but certainly not impossible to do based on just other games on the App Store nowadays, and just any store, any games nowadays. You know, squad system is awesome. They're just missing little things like being able to play 4v4, team versus team, in custom matches, you know? Just like simple things, the way the chat works could be a little bit better. You know, I don't even know what else, like an in-game messaging system. You know, I'm sure they have goals like keeping the app file size relatively small, which they have done compared to other games, which is nice. Maybe it leads to some people keeping the game longer and not uninstalling when it gets too big, you know, if they're just a casual player or whatever. So maybe that helps out, you know, and boosts their revenue in the long run. Just little things like that. There's so many perspectives to think of these things and these features from. But, you know, I bring up the squad system just to say that, you know, with the introduction of squad gear and squad abilities, squad skills, and they have retroactively added squad skills to some existing gear, which is super nice, since, you know, you don't have to chase down new gear. It's not like they added the same exact gear but with squad skill. But if you realize the progression here, you know, if you take gear piece A and gear piece B, where those gear pieces are exactly equivalent, and one of those gear pieces has a squad skill bonus and one of them doesn't, obviously the one with the squad skill bonus is going to be better. And if that situation exists, you know, this is just an extrapolation, but if that situation exists, then the, you know, gear piece A in that example is going to become irrelevant once you have gear piece B, because it's equivalent with an extra perk. And so, you know, it's along the progression of Afterpulse. Obviously, I think they balanced it well with some of the new stuff they introduced. I mean, honestly, I think some of it should be better, maybe. Like, you know, portability is just super low on a lot of it, and I think it could be better without upsetting people. But just to point out the progression, you know, something to be weary of as they introduce these new things. It might, or it, you know, whether directly or indirectly, makes some of your older stuff irrelevant, and you have to keep chasing that new stuff to stay at the top of the pack. But, you know, that's one sort of train of thought. You know, it's I think it's valid, but on the other hand, I think they have done a really good job balancing the game and keeping things relatively balanced. I don't think there's anything that's, I think maybe assault protection specifically is a bit too much nowadays. Obviously super frustrating to go against people using the full assault protection setups, and I think 99.9% of you would agree with that. And so, you know, what's the solution there? Do you nerf it? Do you leave it as is and introduce other stuff, or make it the assault weapon stronger? I don't know. But I mean, that's really the only thing I can think of nowadays. I mean, obviously the way the game is designed, some things are just purely going to be better than other things. You know, echo weapons are probably going to be better than, you know, non-tier weapons, you know, things like that. The rarer deltas are going to be better than the not as rare deltas, you know, things like that. And so some stuff is just going to be better than others. It's just the way the game is designed. And so there's never going to be like a perfect point of balance, but I'd say overall they've done a really good job of just keeping things, you know, relatively balanced. And, you know, I wouldn't wear 4-star gear into a ranked match, but you know, you can compete at least with the majority of 6-star gear sets, I would say. And so there is a diverse set of gear and weapons that you can use to compete with, which is super cool. It's not just like one thing dominates everything, so in that sense they've kept it relatively balanced. But getting closer here to the end of the 5-star list. You love to see it. Lots of stuff that I mean, I'm tempted to just sell it. I kind of want to after scrolling through it all here. Like UAU 5 officer vest, like I have no use whatsoever for that stuff. You know, compared to some other stuff. I mean, things like the Jester vest where it is just 5-star gear and there's no 6-star equivalent of that. Obviously I would keep that, but you know, I guess for the sake of collecting everything, making the most complete account that I can, I'm holding on to it for that. Just trying to keep one of each. I do sell all of my duplicates, which has been a tedious process. Probably spent countless hours throughout the course of my journey just selling duplicate gear, which is depressing to think of, but you know, we do have a clean inventory to scroll through, so I guess we got that going for us. But yeah, lots of pieces that I'll never touch. But I do like to hold on to everything, because one good example is with the I think when the Broken Arrow event was first introduced, they completely changed the PMC mountain gear, which some of you guys might have had and then sold it because you're like, screw this, there's better stuff in the game. You know, I mean, most people probably kept it since it was 6-star gear and relatively rare. Probably some of the more common 6-star gear, but still relatively rare. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is, kind of lost my train of thought here. We got a couple 1-star vests that threw me off. What I'm trying to say is that they did change the PMC mountain gear, and so just from that perspective, I would still try to hold on to one of everything that you can, because you never know what's going to change in the future. And we'll scroll through the list like we've been doing everything else here, but just to show you the mountain gear here, they changed it to be part of the Hasmaru equipment collection, and so they added they added different boosts. You see in the very top, plus 2% damage in control zones. That was added with the introduction of the Broken Arrow event, and then they added these 2-piece and 3-piece set bonuses, and they might have changed some of the base stats like portability and base health. I don't remember. But that's just a reason to hold on to one of everything, even if you think like, God, this gear piece is stupid, I'm absolutely never, ever, 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 ever going to wear this. I would just hold on to one of each thing, you know, at least for the 6-star gear, probably for the 5-star gear, maybe not for the 4-star gear. If you want to sell that, feel free. And obviously, feel free to do whatever you want, but it's your account. But yeah, that's one reason to hold on to one of everything, just because, you know, they're free to change things as they wish, I guess. And so you never know exactly what's going to be rebalanced and changed and buffed and nerfed and updated in the future, and how it's going to fit into the meta of the game. And so just something to think about. But I think we are closing in on the end of our inventory check video. Shout out if you watched the whole thing, man. I mean, you guys requested it, man. Several of you guys have requested it, at least over the last few months. Figured I'd finally sit down and do it. You know, relatively easy video to make. Obviously, you know, I've sat here and talked for 45 minutes, which is 45 minutes that I'll never get back, but hopefully it's worth it for some of you guys out there. And you know, I could make like a 5-minute video just scrolling through everything super quick, which maybe you guys would appreciate more. But I guess if you're really interested in seeing the whole Afterpulse inventory, maybe you're interested in hearing some of my stories and discussion and random thoughts that have popped up along the way here. So yeah, let me know what you think. Smash that like button or something. I don't know, dude. Let me know if I should just post a quicker, shorter inventory video where I literally just scroll through and don't even talk. Pretty much just scroll through as fast as I can. We could probably make that like a 5-minute video. So yeah, let me know if you'd rather just see that for future inventory check videos. But not sure when the next one will be. You know, I used to do them periodically, mostly to just save a record of my account. I've never really had an issue with it, but back in the day, people would report like, oh, this weapon went missing or whatever, which some of that is sketchy. I'm not going to get into it here. Some of that was super, super sketchy back in the day, but I do believe that it did happen to, you know, some honest people, that they did actually lose some weapons and stuff. And so I was always paranoid with the just insane amount of hours that I put into the game way back in the day. I was just paranoid that I would lose something and not have a record of it. So I did do inventory check videos periodically. A couple of them are up on the channel if you want to go back and see what Afterpulse was like, what used to be in the game and stuff. But see how my account has grown over the years. But I even made some others beyond that I just never posted publicly, just to have a record of it in case anything ever did go crazily wrong. You know, I would have a video record of my account, and I would be able to hopefully get that stuff back. But nowadays, you know, maybe it's happened to a couple people, but I haven't really seen any discussion about losing items in the game, which I don't know. I won't say anything controversial here. We'll just leave it at that. But it's been a journey, man. It's been a journey, but haven't seen discussion of it. So hopefully things have stabilized, and I'm not too worried about having a record of my account nowadays. You know, even if I lost one of my 7 stars, I'd just be like, yeah, it's the price of doing business. I'm not too invested in it. Not to say I'm not like passionate about it. Not to say that I don't still like the game, because I do. I am still passionate about it. I do still like the game. But it's just so much time spent grinding, or it's a lot of money spent, and I don't know, the low ROI has been hard to justify. So working on like pivoting the channel a little bit, and I know all I say in my videos is that I promise we'll have some good stuff coming in the future, but you know, I really do promise that things are going to be changing a lot, doing some different stuff. Still trying to stream on weekdays on Loots, Twitch, Mixer, DLive. Might do some other stuff. Stay tuned to my Twitter. Just everything's Gaming Willis. I just made a Reddit. We might have something, speaking of pivoting the channel, we might have something going on over there. So, you know, I share, Twitter's like the easiest to share news and updates and stuff. Quick little updates, quick little thoughts and stuff. And so I would say that's like, aside from YouTube, if you followed me on any platform, I would say Twitter would be the best bang for your buck, or just check in occasionally, see what I'm up to, and get some news from there. But yeah, we'll see what the future's like here. I don't know, man. Kind of just a random off the top of the head video, obviously just rambling on for 50 minutes. And so I think we covered everything. That's my whole account: primaries, secondaries, legs, torso, headgear, different head designs, all the gadgets. I mean, I could show you my loadouts. There's just like random stuff here. Got a winter setup, got my assault protection setup. You love to see it. Random C-Tray setup back when, like, last week was C-Trace assault event or something. I was messing around with that. That's my launcher setup from the Defend the Zone launcher only, which was like 2 weeks ago or something like that. I don't know, dude. Time just flies by. There's my dragon setup. Got the full 6-star dragon gear with a that's just a 6-star A500. It looks pretty flashy, but I guess a 7-star is even more flashy. But yeah, just completed that gear set recently. So I mean, we got plenty of stuff to make content on. I'm more just lazy than anything else, but it's a lot of time, man. It's a lot of time putting together all these videos and stuff. There's the Griffin 12. I've only found the Griffin 12 useful using the full 6-star Infiltrator cage gear set, which is what is equipped on that loadout here. So yeah, we got that guy equipped. and some LMG loadouts that I was testing for my ACL08 7-star maxed out video coming soon, and my HMG 24 carbon maxed out video coming at some point if I ever finish maxing that out and if I can find matches to play. And so yeah, what else can I talk about? It's like you know how YouTubers stretch out the video to 10 minutes to put in an extra ads or whatever. It's like, how do I stretch this out to an hour to put in extra ads? That's the new threshold for extra ads. Oh, another thing, I did complete all of the challenges finally. I think there were like 1 or 2 like multi-kill awards or something that I had not completed. So those just randomly popped up one day. I forget exactly what I was playing. I honestly feel like they were bugged a little bit. Could be wrong. Just trying to see if I see it here. I don't know. It was like a multi-kill award. Just scrolling through super quick. I'm not like specifically. Yeah, the house always wins 2, I think. Get the multi-kill award 2 times in the same match. And I think, don't quote me on this, could be wrong. I should definitely know this with the amount of time I played this game, but I think multi-kill is 4 enemies at once. Or is it 3? If anybody knows in the comments, let me know. I feel like I should definitely know that. I totally forget. But yeah, get the multi-kill award 2 times in the same match. That one, we just completed that recently. I think that was our remaining challenge to do. And I thought there was one over here. Kind of want to scroll through and find it. We're already invested at this point. Might as well keep it going. A lot of these are super easy. Just, you know, kill X enemies, X number of enemies with this type of weapon. Let's see. Yeah, 4 of a kind, I think. Get the multi-kill award 20 times. I think that was one that I completed recently as well. So apparently we got a lot of multi-kills recently. I'm not sure if that was from the launcher defend the zone event, which would obviously be pretty easy to get multi-kills in that. I think it might have been. That might have been how I completed it. But either way, we got every single challenge done. Of course, we got the dailies that reset every day. And yeah, making some progress on the season. Bought the booster. Played a little bit. Definitely need to play more. Really, really do. So I don't know. If you see me out there, say what's up. But yeah, I think that's going to finally do it for this random rambling video. Bunch of random stuff, but essentially an inventory check video back by popular request, man. I think that'll finally do it. Appreciate you guys watching, especially if you're watching at this point. Stay tuned for good stuff coming in the future. Check out all those other platforms, because can never have too many social platforms. And I'll catch you guys on the next video.